Part one of the Good Doctor season finale. This one was a lot of build up. We get a little bit of some cliffhangers, and just who knows what's going to happen for our finale next week. So there's three main storylines I kind of want to go over today. We have Shaun, Melendez, and Morgan. So we might as well start with Shaun first. We have the earthquake. Shaun is part of the response team to go to the brewery where Lea was and got trapped in who knows where during the earthquake. So Shaun's part of the response team, shows up, all he cares about is finding Lea. Sees this lady like pinned under some wood and in major distress, like looks at her for 1 second and is like, oh, that lady, she's totally got something pinching her spinal cord, and if you move her, she's going to be paralyzed. See ya. And he's just a man on a mission. He doesn't care. He's not listening to anybody. He is going after Lea. He's crawling through rubble. He's crawling where he shouldn't be, and he's going down. Here's this voice. He's doing everything he can to get to this voice, and he finally gets to the voice and sees it's not Lea. He crawled all that way, not Lea. And as this is happening, we discover like Leah's just trapped in the basement. She gets discovered. She's not hurt. She gets found. She gets saved. And Shaun's now stuck in all this rubble underneath the brewery with a lady impaled in the shoulder, impaled in the calf of the leg. And he's kind of stuck there trying to save her. So he kind of radios into Lim his situation. She says, hey, keep the line open while you help her. I want to hear everything that's going on. And Shaun goes about pulling her out from the shoulder impale, but he's going to have to wait for assistance for somebody to cut the piece of rebar that's sticking through the lady's calf. And so the whole main thing here is that the radio line is open as Shaun is talking to this lady, talking in specifically about Lea, who, as this progresses, Lea is able to hear everything over the radio. And Shaun starts talking about how, Lea was the person who helped open him up, helped show him how to love. She is the woman that he fell in love with, and all these things. And then he has this little heartbreaking moment when he says that he can never make her feel those things that she makes him feel. And your heart kind of breaks for Shaun a little bit in that moment. Like all he wants is to have this person in his life, and she's really shown everything that they're fantastic together. Is the one person in his life who at the end of the day just can't get over his autism to see who he actually is. So that was kind of sad. Interested to see what happens with him next week. He's still trapped in that building. We don't know if something worse is going to happen there. I'm going to guess there's going to be some sort of aftershock, and it ends up being Lea talking on the radio to Shaun. It'd be interesting to see where that ends up. I'm gonna say happy ending for Shaun. All right, let's move on to Melendez. Melendez was at the brewery when the earthquake happened. He's kind of was downstairs with Glassman and Lea. We saw Lea get trapped. We saw Glassman. He dislocates his shoulder, but otherwise fine. And Melendez seems totally fine. But we find out later that he did get hit with a beam during the earthquake and has a injury on his side. He says no big deal, keeps working, keeps helping people, and Claire, who was one of the responders, says, just make sure you get that checked out as soon as we get back to the hospital. And Claire and Melendez go about helping and trying to save the lady who was pinned under the beam in the brewery with the screw that was pinching on her spinal cord. So they're doing surgery like in the brewery, and then right at the end of the episode, Melendez goes to leave, and collapses. Not feeling good, collapses. So we did get a brief glimpse of him in the preview, and it sounded like things are real bad for Melendez. So I was really enjoying the whole storyline of Claire and Melendez this season. They're a couple that I felt very early on in the show that there was going to be some sort of relationship between them. And the last part of this season, we've really kind of seen that grow. Last week, we saw Claire say to her therapist that she thought she was in love with her boss. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Right now, it's looking like he's probably the most likely character to die in this situation, but who knows? We'll have to tune in next week. I'm rooting for Claire and Melendez, but right now the prognosis is negative. Okay, our third storyline I wanted to talk about was Morgan Resnick. So Morgan is back at the hospital. She's just had surgery on her hands. She's decided that she's gonna give up her long-term health of her hands in exchange for being able to be a surgeon for 5-10 more years. So she's just had this surgery, her hands are all wrapped, and this emergency's going down, and she finally talks her way into being the lead in the ER so that Glassman can go and work and the other doctors can go work in the OR because they're so desperate for OR doctors. And her story really comes to a head right at the end, where they need another person doing surgery and no surgeons available. It's an emergency, a patient that she missed her being pregnant, and then on top of it, her pregnancy had happened in her fallopian tube, and then at the end of the episode, the fallopian tube ruptures, and Morgan decides that she's gonna have to operate. So we didn't see the outcome of that, but probably not going to be too good for Morgan. This could be her last surgery after all. Kind of crazy to see all the different little sides of her character. She's kind of been all over the map. She's that stone cold B word. She's got this soft side that she never actually really shows. We got to see lots more of her family and her background this season. So I don't know what's going to happen to her, but I'm very excited to find out. So next week, our finale, I'm guessing we're all going to tune in because we gotta find out what happens, and I will be back as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.